We're on 13a, 5 lines from the top. It says, we learned in the Mishnah that from these gezeros that we had, a person shouldn't walk outside. A person shouldn't walk outside Erev Shabbos with things that he may end up carrying. Similarly, there's another gezerah. A zav, someone that's tamei, a man that's tamei, because he had a mission that's not regular, that's not a normal thing, it's a type of illness. Even though he's tamei, he shouldn't eat at the same table together with the zava. There's a woman that had a discharge, also abnormal. Why? Because that brings a closeness, and they could end up sinning. They shouldn't be eating together. The Gemara says, Tanya was taught in a brisa. Shimon ben Elazar says, Boyerei, come and see. Adheichan parts of Torah B'Yisrael. You see how much how widespread purity was amongst the Jewish people. It doesn't even say that someone that's tahar shouldn't eat. Someone that's tahar shouldn't eat together with a tamei. It doesn't even have to say that. Someone that's tahar would never eat together at the same table with someone that's tamei, because they might end up becoming tamei. The Mishnah only has to tell us that someone that's tamei already, he's a zav, he shouldn't eat with a zava because he's tamei already. So he doesn't have any concern that maybe he's going to be tamei, he's going to get touched or whatever, become tamei from her. And that's why it has to say that nevertheless, it brings to a closeness, they could end up sinning together. And a zava has the same status as a nida, he's not allowed to live with her. Similarly, we have another point. Zav parashim zav hamaretz. A zav that's a parish, that means he's a chaver. He should not eat with the zav that's an amaretz, even though they have this commonality that they're both tamei, but they shouldn't eat together. What's going to happen? Maybe he'll become frequent by him, become comfortable there. Gemara says, and so what? Let's say he does become comfortable there. My hobby. What's going to happen? Play this story out. What's the end? What sin is he going to commit? The Gemara says, we're concerned that if a zav parash, someone that's tamei, that's a chaver, that means he normally keeps all his food tahar. Right now he happens to be tamei. He should not eat with someone that always is tamei, that always keeps his food tamei. Right now he's also tamei. But his food is anyways tamei. He's not careful about keeping his food tahar, which he doesn't have to be, unless it's truma or something. So they say they shouldn't hang out together. They shouldn't eat together because they're going to come to spending time together. He's going to become regular. So if he's regular, what's going to happen? We said, well, he's going to feed him things that are tamei. What are you saying? Someone that's a zav, he himself is tamei, all his food is tamei. So he's going to go to this guy and feed him more tamei. I mean, he's tamei anyway. Why are you telling me you can't eat by him? All his food is tamei. Rabbi says, we're not concerned with Tumah. We're concerned that he didn't take his meiser. And we don't want them to eat together, even though they have this common, they have this common Tumah, they're both Zav. And so all their food is tummy anyway. Let them eat together. They'll hang out in the Zav's lunchroom and they'll eat together. He said, no. Because this guy's food, Maisa was taken. He's a parish. That means he's a chaver. The other one's food, Maisa wasn't taken. And so they shouldn't eat together. Because maybe he's going to stretch out and serve him something from his plate that Maisa wasn't taken. Rava Reiv HaMiyaretz Maisa. And Rava says no. Reiv HaMiyaretz anyways take Maisa. That's not a concern for us that he's going to, the majority of these people take Maisa. It's not a concern that he's going to feed him food that Maisa wasn't taking. So what's the problem? Why shouldn't they eat together? He may become familiar with him so much that he's going to visit him when he's tahar. They become good friends. They're both tummy at the same time. He's going to visit him when he's tahar. He's going to say, yeah, we used to eat together. He's going to eat from him when he's tahar, and this guy's food is always tummy. The Amartz's food is always tummy. And the parish keeps his food tahar, so that's the problem. Okay. Ibaylahu. Gemara has a question. This starts a sugya that takes us on to the next page. It's a famous sugya. It's in Hilchas Nida, and it's also in Hilchas Basa B'Chalav. Both Ibaylu, the yeshiva had a question. Nida ma'u shetishin and baila. Can a woman that's a nida sleep in the same bed with her husband? He bebigda, v'hu bebigdai. She's dressed and he is dressed, which that's not a normal way of going to sleep. They would sleep without their clothing, but here they're dressed, so that's sort of like a reminder that she's tamei. They shouldn't get too close, but they're sleeping in the same bed, and she's tamei. Are they allowed to do that? Amar Rav Yosef, Rabbi Yosef says Tashma. Says, come and listen. If you have a table that could be a table that's used for preparing foods. Beishamai holds that poultry and milk or cheese is only rabbinically forbidden. And so based on that, you're not allowed to eat it together rabbinically, but to put them on the same counter and it's not a problem, because what's the decree over there? What's going to happen in the end? A rabbinic violation? You don't make a decree on a rabbinic decree. It's called the gzeira l'gzeira. Basil says you can't put it on the table and you can't eat it together. It's both rabbinic, but Basil holds that once you put it together on the same table and eating it, it's considered one decree. It's not considered gzeira l'gzeira. It's like Basil holds that it's an automatic thing. That's the Gemara Chulin explained it. The Gemara says, so 1 second. We see from here that you can't put milk and oif, poultry, and bird meat, and cheese on the same table. Husband and wife, she's a nida, can't be in the same bed. The Gemara says, whoa, that's quite a comparison. Shani Hasim Delekadeus. Over there you have one person. He's by the table. He has a plate of this, he has a plate of that, he's by the counter. Here you have two people. One of them is going to remind the other one that says, look, I'm a nida, you're a nida. There's people there that could remind each other. And we don't have the same concern where you just have one person that may forget that he's, 1 second, he's eating the meat now, the poultry, he shouldn't be eating the cheese. You're right, Taka makes sense. To make a difference between if there's two people, which means the husband and wife, that should be permitted. The Kadei is shiny. It makes sense that if there's two people there that can remind each other, so that's different. The Tani Seifa, because look at the end of the Mishnah that we had in Chulin. It says, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, Shnei Achsanaim, if you have two people that are guests at an inn, they are allowed to eat at the same table. It's not a problem. They have this in coffee shops. You go to a coffee shop, you don't know what the other person is eating. Let's say it's not a problem with the coffee itself. So let's say it's not. So you have a coffee and you're sitting over there at the thing. It's in an airport, let's say, and the small tables. And someone sits down across from you eating a sandwich. It's not a problem. You don't know that person. You're not going to take a a piece of his sandwich and taste it. Two people can eat over there. Two guests, they can sit at the same table and they can eat. It's not a problem. Okay, so you see, two people, one's going to remind the other one. The Gemara says, 1 second. That is a special case. That's not a good comparison. That over there, it's only because you don't know the other person. So therefore, you don't feel as comfortable. You're not going to take anything from his plate to taste one of his French fries or something. So over there, it's different by the restaurant or by the inn. But if they know each other, then it's a problem. You can't have two people at the same table, two children in the house. One's eating milchiks, one eating fleishiks without any, just eat at the same table. You can't do that. And look, same problem. Husband and wife, they know each other. It's a problem. They shouldn't be allowed to sleep in the same bed if she's in nida, and even if they're both dressed. The Gemara says, 1 second. Over there, when they're eating at the table, and you said that if they know each other, it's a problem. If they're comfortable with each other, they may take food from each other. One's milchik, one's fleishik. He said that's a problem because they're doing everything absolutely normal. There's nothing that's reminding them that they're eating two different types of foods that can't be mixed. But over here, there's two people, but they're also doing something that tells them to remind each other that they should remember that the woman is forbidden right now. She is a nida. What are they doing? She's wearing clothing and he's wearing clothing. That's not how they go to sleep. So they're doing something different to remember that there's a difference. This is halacha, same thing by the table. If two people want to eat at the table, one milchik and one fleishik, they have to put a heker. One person has a tablecloth, one doesn't. Or they put some sort of sign that they put up something that's not normally on the table to remind each other. Okay, Ikeda Amri. Some people said the same story, the same sugya, but slightly different. They started from the other side. It goes like this. Tashima, come and listen. Notice they had a shaila. Are a husband and wife allowed to sleep in the same bed? She is dressed, and he's dressed, and there's not as a reminder that she's a nida. Are they allowed to be in the same bed? So it says, Tashima, come and listen. Let me just try to mute. I can do it actually. Okay, if you want to say something, you can unmute. That way we don't have the background. Okay. Oops. So it was Tashima, come and listen. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, Shnei achsinoim, two guests at an inn or at a restaurant. They can eat at the same table. They take out their sandwiches, and this one can eat meat, and this one can eat milk, cheese. And it was stated on that Mishnah, it was the Mishnah in Chulin, Amar Rav Chanan, Barami, Amar Shmuel, that's only if they don't know each other. Aval Makim Zeh also, but if they do know each other, there's a slight problem there. Because they may be comfortable and they may take a taste from each other's food or share the food. You got to taste this. But and here the husband and wife, they know each other. So it should be the same problem that they have sitting at the same table, one's milchiks, one's fleishiks. It should be the same problem where the woman is in nida and they're in the same bed. They're comfortable with each other. They may end up having relations. The Gemara says, Hasam deyasik. But they at the table, they're doing nothing abnormal to remind each other that one's milchiks, one's fleishik. They're eating at the table like normal. You'll forget. Hacha, but in our case, it could be permissible maybe because they're doing something different. What was the difference? They're each dressed in their clothing. Okay. How did we get into this whole story? Because our Mishnah said that a zav should not eat at the same table together with the zava, even though they're both tamei. But because of hergel avera, they'll be comfortable with each other. they may end up sinning. They may end up living together. Where it says, you hear it's not a problem of taking food from each other like we were talking about the restaurant. Here it's a problem that they're going to become too close to each other by eating together, which that leads to closeness. So they shouldn't be, if that's a problem to eat together, then for sure it's a problem to sleep together, even if sure it's wrong to sleep together. The Gemara says no, it's not a problem because over there, eating together doesn't show any difference, anything to remind them that she's tamei. But it's interesting. Sleeping together with this one in the clothes, each one clothed, is more of a separation because there's a shinoi. They're doing something different than eating together at the table. Because eating together at the table is forbidden. But the Gemara still thinks that sleeping together, as long as they're dressed, should be permissible. Tashma. Come and listen. Listen, Yecheskel. It's talking about a righteous person. It says he doesn't have to look up to the mountains to get food, which means that he doesn't need to look to the patriarchs to get merit. He himself is righteous. His eyes did not go on the idols of the house of Israel. And he didn't live with his wife, with the wife of his friend. And he did not come close to a woman that's a nida. Let's make a comparison here. A woman that's a nida, his own wife that's a nida, will compare to the wife of his friend. Just like he can't lay in the same bed with his friend's wife, even if they're both dressed. So to his own wife, if she's a nida, they can't lay in the same bed, even if they're both dressed. Shema Mina, we have a proof. So after all of that, the proof comes from the comparison from Yecheskel. Taisu says, how do you know that they can't lay in the same bed, him and his friend's wife? It says it's a svara. Rashi says, because yichud is aser. Taisu says, 1 second, if you say yichud is aser by your friend's wife, then maybe you're going to say that yichud is aser for nida, because you just made a comparison, friend's wife to nida. The comparison was the same bed, granted. But now you said that it has to do with yichud. That means you can't live in the same house as your wife that's a nida, because she's forbidden. That's going to take things too far. And the Gemara learns that in Sanhedrin it says Seged Bashishanim, which means a hedge of roses, of a rose bush. It's just the thorns themselves are enough to keep the husband away from the wife while she's in nida, which means it's a very weak sort of fence, but nevertheless, Seged Bashishanim, there's a hedge of roses that separate them. That's why a lot of the nida books are called, have to do with Seged Bashishanim, or hedge of roses is one of them. Okay. So, the Gemara says a pligid Rav Pedas. But this statement is arguing on Rav Pedas. Rav Pedas is Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas, his the father. Or maybe he had a son, Rav Pedas, as well. So I think it's the father. Rav Pedas. No, the Torah only forbade a closeness that's a closeness of Gilei Arayas. That means actual relations. But all of these other things are permitted. To sleep in the same bed is not a problem. Shnemar ish ish el kol she'er b'sari lesikrivu legalis erva. A man, any man, to any close relative, he should not reveal the nakedness. That means they shouldn't have relations. But sleep in the same bed is not a problem. So we're arguing on Rav Padas. Ula is our traveler. He travels from Eretz Yisrael to Babel. He brings statements. So he would travel. Here it says when he would come from the yeshiva. This is probably before his career, his traveling career. From the house of Rav. I don't know if it means Rav Mamash or if it means just the yeshiva. He would kiss his sisters on their breast. Some say on their hands, the arms. However, Ula argues on himself because he holds that that's forbidden. Ula says that you're not allowed to have any sort of closeness. Mishum lech lech amri nazira schar schar lekarmel sikrav. You say go. You say to the nazir. Circle. It means go around the vineyard. Don't get close to the vineyard. You tell the nazir he's not allowed to have grapes. You tell him don't even get close to the vineyard. The guy that has alcohol problem. You say don't even go to the bar. Don't go to Simchas Torah to that shul or whatever if you're struggling with that. So the nazir that's not allowed to drink wine, you tell him don't even get close to the vineyard. And Ula holds that you're not even allowed to get close to revealing the nakedness, Gili Arayas, which means that you're not allowed to have any sort of contact or anything that would bring to closeness. So, the Daf Yomi is not a halacha shir, but the Rambam has different examples of this. He says swimming together, or dancing together, all of these are closeness. And then the big question was the handshake, if that's considered closeness or not. And it's a machlekes in Rishonim. Okay, Taisus points out that how did Ula kiss his sisters on their breasts or on their arms, and he holds that that's forbidden because he was such a tzaddik that to him he had no thoughts. But quotes the Gemara in Ksubas, where there was one Amira that would dance with the kala, put the kala on his shoulders. The Rabbanan said, well, how could you do that? He said, well, to me, she's just like a beam, like a beam of wood. Okay. Gemara now has quotes from the Tana de Be'elio, and it's Avos de Rab Nosson, Perek Beis. It goes like this: Tana de Be'elio is taught in the yeshiva of Elio. This is the tradition is that these are teachings. The old Tana de Be'elio is teachings from Eliyahu Navi. During that time, Eliyahu Navi would visit them and tell them teachings, and it was collected in the Tana de Be'elio. It was taught in the house of Elio. Maisa, there was a story B'Talmud Echad of a student, Shoshana Harbe, the Avos de Rab Nosson switches this around. It says, Shekara Harbe, he learned a lot of Chumash. Shana Harbe, he learned a lot of Mishnayos. Shimish Talmid Chachamim, and he also served the sages, Harbe, a lot. Umeis Bechatzi Yamav, and he died half his years. How old is that? I guess 70 is 35 or 40, if he would live to 80. Weißt du, Ishtin, you tell us tefillah of his wife would take his tefillin, she would go from shul to Beis Medrash, and she would say to them, she was discussing with the Rabbanim. It says in the Torah that the Torah is your life and the length of your days. Bali, my husband, Shoshana Harbe, he learned so much Mishnayos, V'Karabi learned so much Chumash. Turning the page, we're on Yud 13b. Shimish Talmid Chachamim, And he served the sages harbe a lot. So why did he die half his years? Why did he die young? No one was able to answer. Okay. This is Eily Navi talking. One time I was a guest by her, and she was saying the whole story. I said to her, Biti, my daughter, when you're a nida, how is he behaving? He wouldn't touch even my small finger. Okay. What about during the days of white? That means she's a nida for 7 days. In those days, that's a nida. But if she was a zava, if there was a time before the takana, if she was a zava, then she would be she would need 7 clean days. So during the 7 clean days, in other words, there was no flow of blood, but she still was waiting for to have relations. So she responds, Achalimi, he would eat together with me, V'shasimi, he would drink with me, V'yashanimi b'kerev basar, and we would sleep together in the bed, close. V'loy also al daite al davaracha, and it never entered his mind to have relations. But Martilas, I said to her, Baruch hamakim shahargo, blessed is God that killed him. Because he did not pay attention to the Torah. The Torah says, you shouldn't get close to a nida while she's tamei. Well, we have a big question. Why was he doing this? He was such a great man. The Gemara is going to explain. When Rabbi came, he said, they had one bed. It wasn't really kiruv basar. It wasn't really close. They weren't really close. They were spread apart on the bed. It was a large bed. They call like a family bed or something. It's a large bed, so they weren't so close. He thought that was enough. Marav Amri, in Eretz Yisrael, they said, that no, she was wearing clothing. And so he thought that was good enough. Like we had a shaila before it. Who be big day? Okay. Taisus here discusses, first he says, why did Eily Navi make a difference between if she's a nida or if she's during the clean days? There's no halachic difference between that. Why did he make it look like there's 2 stages here, during the nida, during the white days? He says he just did that for conversation. He did that because he knew the answer, so he was leading up to it. Okay. Taisus then says, Rabbi Natam, that they would actually go to the mikveh twice. They would go to the mikveh after the days of after the flow. That was the first days of the zava. And then they would go again after the white days. And that's why he was lenient. He thought he was halfway tar. Then he says over here that Rashi would not pass a key from his wife to his wife's hand while she was a nida. We have Rabbi Natam says this about his grandfather. I think it's Rabbi Natam talking. Now, if you look at the Tana de Beilio over there, it says there's more to the story, and over there you could prove that you can't pass things from a husband to wife. This would be the source from that if she's a nida. Okay, I'd like to get to the next page today because I don't know how Shabbos is. I know how Shabbos is going to be. It's not. We're not going to learn on Shabbos, so we'll do half before and then half on Sunday. Hopefully, I think we'll be fine. but there's no reason to rush. Ve'elu, we have a new Mishnah here. Ve'elu min halacha shemer b'aliyas Chanani ben Chizkiya ben Garin. And these are the halachas that were said in the attic of Chanani ben Chizkiya ben Garin. Shalu levakrei, sages went out to visit him, and v'nimnu v'rabu b'shamai al b'silo. They took an account over there of how many students were from Beishamai, how many from Beis Hillel, and there were more from Beishamai. Okay, they made 18 decrees in that time. Beishamai had the majority, and Beishamai paskin about these 18 things. So they made the psak at that time. There was an opportunity for them. And that's how they paskined over there. We're going to see what was he doing up there, and we'll begin to discuss what they things are. But before we begin, Amalei Abai Rav Yosef, the Gemara says, Abai says to Rav Yosef, Eilu Tanan or Ve'elu Tanan? How do you start this Mishnah? Does it start Ve'elu min halachas, or does it start Eilu min halachas? Now, Ve'elu means that the previous Mishnah is one of the halachas that was paskind in the attic of Chanani ben Chizkiya ben Garin. That's ve'elu. And these are, and as what we said previously, is from those halachas. Elu means what we're about to introduce is from the halachas, but not what we said before. It goes like this. Ve'elu tanan hani damran. Ve'elu means what we said before. Oy elu tanan, or is it these, not and these, to be in the come on, what we're about to say in the next Mishnah. So this machlekes rishonim, if it's ve'elu, if it's also including the next Mishnah or not. Because ve'elu definitely is the previous Mishnah, but does it also include the next Mishnah? So Tashma, come and listen. We're right after the Mishnah on 13b. Ein poilin laraner, vein kain laraner. You're not allowed to remove the lice. You're not allowed to the light of a candle, and you're not allowed to read at the light of a candle. And these are one of the halachas that was taught in the attic of Chanani ben Chizkiya ben Garin. Shma mina ve'elu tanan, shma mina. You see, this is a good proof. Ve'elu tanan, that we learned from that. It's their conclusion, or it's a description of what we've said before, and possibly continuation as well. So before we learned the previous Mishnah, those are halachas that were taught in the attic. Okay. Tanar Rabbanan. We have a brisa, an important brisa. Mikasav Megillas Tainus. Who wrote Megillas Tainus? Megillas Tainus is a book before the Mishnayos was even written. They had this book, and in it said which days we're allowed to fast, which days we're not allowed to fast, which days are fast. It had a lot of miracles that took place during the temple times that were considered holidays after the temple was destroyed. So those they became not significant. Only the story of Hanukkah is left, or something like that. But who wrote the Megillas Tainus? Amru, they said, Chanani ben Chizkiya v'siyatei. It was Chanani ben Chizkiya, the one that we just mentioned in the Mishnah, and his group, his helpers. They loved the distress. What it means, they loved it was beloved to them, the relief from the distress, probably. In other words, each time there was some sort of miracle that was very special to them. We also love the relief from the distress. What should we do? If we would start to write, we'd have a holiday every day. We'll never be allowed to fast, or we'll never say tachman. Another pshat. Ein shaita nifka. The reason why we don't write down all the miracles is because we don't sense them. A shaita, an imbecile, a fool, he doesn't even realize what just happened. So he's not touched by the by these occurrences. So that's why we don't write down all of this. Davar acher, ein basar meis margish be'izmo. Dead skin. The Gemara starts off understanding that it's skin of the dead doesn't feel the scalpel. So therefore, we're considered like dead, and therefore we don't feel all the miracles that are happening. The Gemara says, really, dead skin doesn't, the skin of the dead doesn't feel. We have a statement from Rabbi Yitzchak. It says that the worm to a corpse is so painful that it's like a needle going into live flesh. I don't know if that's painful, but that's how it feels. It feels like you're getting pricked with a needle. That his flesh on him causes him pain, and his soul, and because of it, mourns. So in other words, the corpse still feels pain. The Gemara answers, no, it's not the skin, it's not the flesh of a corpse. It's the dead skin on a human. Let's say he has some sort of scar tissue or something that's dead. Rashi says, maybe it's from a burn or something. When you cut that off, it doesn't feel it. He doesn't even feel it. So that's what we're referring to. That we don't even feel the miracles that are happening. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Rav. Baram, in truth. This man needs to be remembered for good. Chananya ben Chizkiah, and his name is Chananya ben Chizkiah. He's the one that we mentioned in the Mishnah. Why? If not for him, we would have had to conceal the book of Yecheskel. Why? Because the book of Yecheskel has words that contradict the Torah. So what did he do? He took 300 barrels of oil and he went up to an attic, and he went into a confinement, what's it called that they're doing today? I forget what the word. Anyway, he put himself in isolation. He put himself in isolation so that he shouldn't be disturbed, and he should be able to go through the book of Yecheskel and answer all of those contradictions. Rashi gives us a few, but we had it before where we have it in Menachos. We had it. Rashi tells us here. Yeah, it says Nevelu Treifa Layechlo Akayanim. A torn animal or nevela, the kayanim are not allowed to eat. So it sounds like what? A kayan can't eat it, but Yisrael can eat it. And the Gemara explains, over there that there's one type of food that's only permissible to the kayan, but not to Yisrael, and that's malika on a bird. That they're allowed to eat. That the kayan would be allowed to eat it, but they don't eat other nevelas or treifas, something along those lines. He answered up all of these contradictions. Okay, now we know what he was doing in the attic. Apparently, he was looking for to be isolated, but the people came up to visit him. Maybe he was done. Okay. They made a decree, 18 things. What are they? So the Tanan, we have a Mishnah. We're not going to get the full list in this Mishnah. The Gemara is going to talk about all of the possibilities and all of this over the next several pages. Most of them have to do with Tumah and Tara. So it's not complex, but it's Tumah and Tara, so it's most of it. Except before we said you can't go out on Erev Shabbos and those things. And what else do we say over there? You can't read to the light of a candle, and and those things. Okay, the Mishnah says, Elu paislan es truma. The following things make truma tamei, but only tamei to the extent that it doesn't pass on to anything else. That's the term paisel. Paisel means, metame means that it makes it tamei, that it's so tamei that it can give off tumah as well. Paisel means that it itself becomes tamei, and that's where it stops. If it touches other things, it doesn't. The tumah doesn't spread from there. So these are rabbinic types of tumah, and they only go one step. It goes like this. Ha'eichel eichel rishon. Officially, food never makes a person tamei. A person makes food tamei, but tamei food doesn't make the person tamei. However, rabbinically, if a person does eat food that's tamei, and then he goes and he touches truma, that truma, if he eats the right amount of food, that truma becomes puzzle. That means it itself becomes tamei, but it can't give off tumah. Now, there's different levels of food that's tamei. It could be a rishon latama. That means it touched the sheretz. The sheretz is the avatama. The food touched the sheretz. Or the person touched the sheretz and the person touched the food. Then the food becomes a sheni. It's one step removed from the sheretz. So if someone eats eichel rishon, he eats food that's tamei and he touches truma, that truma becomes tamei. Or v'eichel eichel sheni, or if he eats food that touched something that touched the sheretz, so he also is considered tamei, that he'll make truma tamei. Now what's happening here is truma can go one more step. Truma could become a shlishi. Let me see. It's probably mine. Sorry. So what's happening is that food, that truma, could become a shlishi. Now it's not the food that's touching the truma, it's the person that ate the food that's touching the truma. But it's considered like he's that food, and he could make it till a shlishi. At least if he's a sheni, he's like, if he ate sheni food, so he becomes like the level of a sheni, and he makes the truma into a shlishi. If he eats a rishon, he's also like a sheni, and he makes the food into a shlishi. Okay, it's all rabbinic, because really he does not become tamei at all from food. If he drinks liquid that's tamei, we're going to discuss what this means later. If his head, let's say he went to the mikveh and he comes out and he puts his head into she'uvim water, and the majority of his body, his head and majority of his body into she'uvim water. She'uvim water means water that's drawn in a vessel, drawn water. Now, there's a decree about the drawn water, and we consider him tamei enough that if he touches truma, that truma will become pasul. Or someone that was entirely pure. Before we were talking about someone that was tamei that went to the mikveh and came out, and instead, maybe the mikveh was smelly, as we'll see, and he decided to go into nice clean water that was drawn in his pool, in his whatever, to it's she'uvim water, to get clean. So he becomes tamei again a little bit, that he'll make truma tamei. Now we're talking about a tar person, someone that just takes a shower. Take a shower, become tamei. Shleisha lugamayim shuvim. You'll passel truma if you touch it. That means the truma will become tamei. V'hasefer. This is books or scrolls of Torah. If they touch truma, they make it tamei. We'll see why. It has to do with people used to hide their truma in the Aron Kodesh. And then the svarim would spoil. We'll see later. Vayadayim, hands before they're washed. We wash our hands today because the Kohanim would wash their hands before they ate truma. Vatful Yoim, and also Vatful Yoim. I mean, someone that went to the mikveh didn't wait till nightfall. We know that you have to wait till nightfall, right? The first Mishnah in Brachas, before you eat Truma. This person went to the mikveh and he didn't wait and he touched Truma. Or food or vessels that touched mashkin, that touched liquids, they also become tamei, and they make the truma puzzle. Food or utensils that touch mashkin, that touch liquids. Gemara asks, Man tana eichel rishon v'eichel sheni mifsal pasli tumuye loy metamo. Who's the one that says the first case that we had was someone that eats this food that's tamei, he's either rishon or sheni. He only becomes the level of a sheni that he'll make food, make truma into a shlishi, but he won't, which means that the truma becomes puzzle, but it doesn't become tamei. The difference is that it can't pass tuma on to anything else. Amar Rabbi Bar Bar Chana, we're on top of 14a. Rabbi Bar Bar Chana says, Rabbi Yeshua, it's the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua. The Tanan, as was started in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer, it's a rishon. Rabbi Eliezer, his opinion is that if someone eats food that's tamei as a rishon, he becomes a rishon. If he eats food that's a sheni, he becomes a sheni. Eichel shlishi, he becomes a shlishi, which means that he can't make truma tamei, but he can still make a karban. Food from a karban could go one step further to a revi. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. However, Rabbi Shua says, Eichel rishon, eichel sheni is a sheni. Someone that eats food that's tamei as a rishon, or food that's tamei as a sheni, he becomes a sheni. That means that he'll make truma tamei as a shlishi. He's a sheni, he's a second. He'll make a shlishi, he'll make a third. He'll turn it into a shlishi, which means that it becomes puzzle, but the truma doesn't go on. However, shlishi, if he eats shlishi food, then sheni l'kodesh, he becomes a sheni for sacrifice food. Then he'll make sacrifice food into a shlishi, bein sheni l'truma, but he's not considered a sheni for truma, referring to chulin shenasal taras truma. This is referring to if he's eating chulin that was kept holy to the level of truma. In other words, like this. Regular food can only become a rishon or a sheni. This food became a shlishi. Well, how did it become a shlishi? Food doesn't become a shlishi. The only thing that can become a shlishi is either truma or a sacrifice. And then you're not allowed to eat it if it's tamei. So what we're explaining here is that we're dealing with chulin food that was kept to the stringency of truma, which means that it could become a shlishi. This food became a shlishi, and there's no problem eating it. You were trying to keep all your food tahar. It's those people that would keep all their food tahar. So he's keeping it tahar. But this food it takes on the laws of truma because it's being kept to the standard of truma, and it actually gets the tumah of a shlishi. Okay, so when he eats the shlishi, which he's allowed to, there's no problem. That's only significant for kodesh food, for food of a sacrifice. There's zero significance for him eating truma. Okay, that's what we learned. Now the Gemara goes back to explain the first things that we said. We said, okay, well, what we're looking for quoting this Mishnah is that we're looking for the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua that holds if a person eats food that's either a rishon or a sheni, he becomes like a sheni, and he'll make truma food possible. My time it goes tuma. Why is there a rabbinic decree on this? What's the problem? The Gemara explains the zimdach leichel tmeim v'shashim maskin the truma v'shadi lepume pasalo. Could be that he's eating impure food. After he's eating, he wants to take a drink. Just wants to wash it down. He takes a drink of wine that's truma. In his mouth, he has the food that's tamei, and he's drinking he's drinking truma wine. So therefore, because in that instance, he's actually being metama the truma by putting that impure, he ate the impure food with truma wine. Because he's being metama the wine, so we say that you're not allowed to drink wine if you ate impure food. You're not allowed to touch it even. Okay. What about the next case? Shasa mashkin tmeya, my time it goes to if someone drank liquid that's impure. So he's not allowed to touch truma. If he does, he makes it tamei. The Gemara explains to Zim the shasa mashkin tmeya v'shaka leichel and truma v'shad lepuma paslo. Maybe he's in the middle of drinking impure liquids, and he decides while he's drinking that he needs a bite to eat. So he puts it in his mouth, and the truma that he put in his mouth right now, the food that he put in his mouth, is going to become tummy from the liquid. The Gemara says, Hainu hach, it's the same gezerah. Why do you divide it up? It's the same thing. He puts it in his mouth, food of this or drink of that. And the Gemara says, no. Mao the tema, I could have thought, it's very common if a person eats that he needs a drink. But if a person drinks that he needs to eat, that's not so common. I could have thought that there's no gezerah on that. That if he drinks impure liquids, that he becomes tamei because he may touch truma food, that there's no gezerah. Kamashmalan that there is a gezerah on that. Now it says, someone that came out of the mikveh and then he goes into liquids, mayim shuvim, he goes into water that was drawn. Why is there a decree on that? Amar Rabbi, Amar Ravasi. Rabbi said, they used to go to the mikveh in caves that had smelly water. When they would come out, they would take a shower. They would take clean water and pour it over them. Because of that, of asam keva, they determined that this is the way that you always go to the mikveh. There's a two-step mikveh process. You go into the smelly water, and then you wash it off with shu'uvim water. Gazra aleim tuma. So they decreed that shu'uvim water make a person tamei, to stop that. Gemara says, my keva, what do you mean they made it keva? Amar Rabbi says, that they would say, le elam mitarim, ele ela ve'elam mitarim. They said that it's not that these make you tahar, the mikveh. You actually need both to make you tahar. The mikveh takes two steps, so therefore they had to stop that. Amalei Rava, my nafkamina, hakatavli bahana. What's the big deal? If it's a two-step process, before you made the decree that it's tamei, you had no problem. The whole problem is you made a decree now, so you made it tamei. So now you have a problem. But big deal if you go to the mikveh, so it's so you're tar. So why do you have to say that mayim shuvim then makes you tamei? If it's a two-step process, but the first step makes you tar, and the second step does nothing until you made a decree that it makes you tamei. No, it's different. They would say that it's not this that makes you tahar. It's the clean water afterwards that make you tahar. This is just preparatory to the clean water. And then they started to think that it's the shuvim water that makes you tahar. Yeah, you take a shower and that's good enough. Okay. V'tar shenaflo al reisha, someone that's totally tar, that it fell on his head or on majority of his body. My time it goes to Be'er Banatuma. Why did they make a decree about that? That he's tamei. He was never tamei before. Why just mayim shuvim makes you tamei? Because if you don't say that a tar person becomes tamei for mayim shuvim, then a tamei person is not going to be able. We won't be able to continue with the decree on the tamei person. That the tamei person goes to the mikveh and he comes out and he puts on a mayim shuvim and he thinks that the mayim shuvim are the ones that made him tar. So therefore, we had to always say that mayim shuvim make a person tamei, whether he's tamei or not. That way, we can uphold the person that's tamei to ensure that he actually uses the mikveh and he doesn't just use mayim shuvim. Okay, let me go a drop further. I have another 2 minutes. Sefer. My time it goes to Be'er Rabbanan Tumah. Why is there a decree of tumah if someone touches a sefer? Amar Mashashir shebetchilim etzniin leseichel tumah etzel sefer Torah from the high kaddish v'high kaddish. They would say, look, let's take the truma and put it into the Aron Kodesh. Both of them are holy. it'll stay over there. But given the chaz, the gasalei pseida, but they started to see that the mice that would eat the food, so they would start to eat the scrolls as well. They would see the scrolls were getting nibbled on. So gozer be Rabbanan Tumah, the Rabbanan made a Tumah on it, that food, that the sefer makes the food tummy. Don't put your truma food together with the svarim, not like with that fellow in Sfas or whatever that he put every Erev Shabbos he put his bread and Aron Kodesh. That would be a problem if it would be a truma or whatever. And v'hayadayim, why are hands considered tummy? Because hands are always touching things, and so therefore you have to wash your hands before you eat truma. Okay.